Rules of the Road, Chapter 21. It was 9 days to the stockholders' meeting, and despite the support from many store managers, the news was bleak. The mail-in ballots were coming in at Gladstone headquarters, and Harry Bender's friend Lyle said that Eldon and the shoe warehouse were going to win by a landslide. We'd had an all-out telephoning marathon with me, Harry, Mrs. Gladstone, and Alice, calling all the stockbrokers and asking them for their support. In 1 hour, 7 people hung up on me. 2 asked if I was crazy, and 1 said she'd think about it. I'd just come off the sales floor with Harry Bender, who'd shared with me his 2 golden sales rules that lifted him from the sewer of despair to the top of his profession. Rule number 1. Care about people more than about what you're selling. Rule number 2. Never miss a good opportunity to shut up. We were sitting in the back room. Harry was studying a can of Coke like it held some secret to victory. It looks pretty bad, doesn't it, Mr. Bender? He took a long drink, wiped his mouth. There isn't any stockholder we talk to who doesn't want to make more money, but there are still lots of folks out there who don't want the Gladstone quality changed. That's the good news. The bad news is we're in the minority. It doesn't sound like anything can be done. He slapped his knees. This dogfight isn't over yet. His phone rang. He flipped it open. You got Harry. He listened for a while, then spoke into the receiver. Well, that's the worst thing about it, 'cause the booze doesn't know how to talk to you any other way than lying. Booze means alcohol. So you got to remember that and keep reminding yourself how it was when you were drinking. Feelings get in the way of facts, friend, and you got to distinguish between the two. All right, then. You stay clean. Call back if you need to. He folded the phone shut, looked at me. Mr. Bender, can I talk to you about my dad? Sure thing. I'm getting to the point with him that I'm not sure how to handle things. He hurts me so much when he's around, and while he's gone, I worry about him and never know if he's coming back. It's like I lose if he's here and lose if he's gone, and you told him you feel that way? I couldn't say that to my dad. He doesn't take responsibility for anything. He's just filled with excuses. Harry Bender leaned forward. Maybe saying it isn't as much for him as it is for you. I was about to say he didn't understand when Mrs. Gladstone walked in the back. Harry Bender patted my hand. We'll talk about it later. Think about what I said. Mrs. Gladstone was looking brave, like a politician who knows they've lost an election. Is this the wake? She asked sarcastically. Don't go getting negative on me, old girl. I'm simply being practical, Harry. Shoot, Maddie. Any fool can be practical. You want to start exercising your brain capacity, find some faith and hold on to that. Mrs. Gladstone laughed. I've got faith in you, Harry. Well, he said, smiling, let's see what that'll do. He patted down his Stetson hat, got out his car keys. I've got a meeting with a man who can maybe get us more votes. Who? Mrs. Gladstone demanded. He smiled mysteriously. I haven't gotten it all clear yet in my head. Harry Bender, Mrs. Gladstone shouted. You tell me what you're up to. Not yet, he said, laughing, and headed out the door. You know the thing about hope? How it sneaks up behind you when you're sure everything's in the toilet and starts whispering to you that maybe, just maybe, things could turn around. That's the gift Harry gave us that night. Some people, all you have to do is stand next to them and you feel protected. Mrs. Gladstone said he was always like that too, a presence of hope, even after all he'd been through, able to laugh darkness in the face. I wondered if that came from knowing the darkness so well. He'd figured out how to beat it. Mrs. Gladstone said if anyone could bottle and sell Harry Bender, they'd make a fortune. I don't think any bottle could hold what that man's got. I pictured him getting out of his Chevy Suburban, saddling up some millionaire's saddling up to some millionaire's house and talking that man over to our side. I saw him standing up to a podium at the stockholders' meeting, giving a speech about truth, justice, and selling shoes, winning the trust of everybody in the room, even Eldon, and saving the company. I saw him telling me that he'd always wanted a daughter like me, and that if I didn't mind, he'd be so proud to be my surrogate father, and that I could come down and visit him and his wife in Texas any old time I like. The stockholders' meeting was 8 days away. Alice was having dinner with friends, and Mrs. Gladstone and I were sitting on her beige couch, drinking iced tea. I looked at Mrs. Gladstone's face. She had deep wrinkles around her mouth, and skin around her eyes was cracked by lines and too much sun, but still she was beautiful. She smiled from her heart and handed me a big envelope. I want to thank you, Jenna, for being so kind to me these weeks. You've made this time downright bearable. Open it. I did. Took out a stack of important-looking stiff papers. 50 shares of Gladstone stock, she said, worth around $22 a share at the moment. But at the end of the week, it should be worth more. $22 a share? That was over $1,000. I looked at the papers. Jenna Bowler, stockholder. Mrs. Gladstone. Wow. But you remember, Jenna, business is more than stock, more than profits. Too many people see work as something they've got to do. Floyd and I were lucky. We loved selling shoes, loved meeting the customers, loved trying to do the best we could with what we'd been given. You just can't put a price on that. My father said that God gave people work to help them grow in grace. She laughed. He'd usually tell me that when it was my turn to clean out the chapel. The knock on the door woke me from a deep fog. I checked the clock next to my bed. 2:13 a.m. I'd fallen asleep with the light on and was checking the stock market figures in the Dallas Herald. I croaked out, "Just a minute." The knock came louder. I tossed the newspaper aside, knocked over the water glass. "Nice one, Bowler." "I'm coming." I blinked hard to find consciousness, half remembering the dream I was having about me in a solid red Mustang, zooming down the highway with a tall, gorgeous college guy at my side. The knock came again. This better be important. "Jenna," said Mrs. Gladstone from the hall. I opened the door. Mrs. Gladstone stood in her robe, holding it closed to her throat, crying. Her face was stone gray. Alice stood next to her. "Mrs. Gladstone, are you all right?" Mrs. Gladstone took a faltering step toward me. I reached my hand to help her. "What is it?" Her shoulders heaved in sadness. She sat down on the bed, overcome. She bent over. Alice cried harder. "Mrs. Gladstone." "It's Harry Bender," she said finally, choking back tears. "He was in a car accident. He was hit head-on by a drunk driver." She shook her old head in disbelief. "My Lord, Jenna, he's dead."